little bit of a light greeting. Well, welcome to Cooking with Food, a Christmas special. I'm your host, Consume Panchi. Welcome to my lovely home. Today we're going to be making a special recipe. It's a long-held recipe down from the family lines from the great matriarch herself. It's called Tembleque. It's a Puerto Rican dish. If it's from any other place and it's not Tembleque, it's gotta be Puerto Rican. You need to have Puerto Rican blood to make Tembleque. That's right. I'm joking, but of course you need to know how to make it. So today, we're gonna go ahead and walk you through the steps of making a nice holiday dish of creamy desserts. Let's go. So now that we're in the kitchen, we're gonna go ahead and use our equipment and ingredients that we'll need for today. I'll be using a good old ancient 100-year-old slow crocker pot. Another word for these is a basic pot. I have it set at 350 degrees. Just want to go ahead and create a nice heat for things to start boiling. You're also going to need some leche de coco, or coconut milk for you non-Spanish speakers, salt, sugar, cornstarch, as well as, this is optional, vanilla. And I'll tell you the measurements as we go on. So you want to start off with your coconut milk. We'll need around 800 milliliters, which is probably around 2 cans of these. And I'm going to go ahead and measure them out for a particular reason that you'll see in a bit. So I'll go ahead and start off with 400 milliliters first. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and put those in my already boiling pot. I'll go ahead and open up the other can and measure out another 400 milliliters. Now, of course, the best way to know is you want to make sure your thing is set and see what you have. Yeah, that looks about right. 400 milliliters. Now what you want to do is you only want to go ahead and put in roughly 300 milliliters of that into the pan, or the pot, per se. Basically, you want to leave at least around 100 milliliters of the coconut milk in your measuring cup for future use. 100, perfect. So I'm going to set this to the side. Now let's focus on our boiling coconut milk that we have here now, right? Next, you want to go ahead and throw in your 1 cup of sugar in. You want to give that a good old stir. Want to go ahead and start dissolving that, and while you're dissolving that, you can go ahead and throw in 1 teaspoon of salt in as well. So after you throw in those 2 remaining ingredients in, you're pretty much done for the most part. The rule for sugar, if you want to make more or less, is ½ cup of sugar for every can, or 400 milliliters. Carl, your phone went off. I told you to silence your phone.
I'm sorry.
Please silence it the next time, or I will dunk it into this Tembleque that I'm making right now. Okay? Thank you. So as I was saying, every ½ cup of sugar for every can, or 400 milliliters of coconut milk. You can ratio that out. If you want to make 300 gallons of Tembleque, you can figure that out with math. I'm a mathematician. I'm a chef. So the only ingredient that's really essential that's missing, however, is what we Puerto Ricans call is maicena. However, I'm not going to commit genericide as many of my compatriots do. What this stuff is actually supposed to be called is cornstarch, or fecula de maíz. Fecula de maíz. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Regardless, it's not maicena, it's cornstarch. And remember those 100 milliliters you set aside of coconut milk? That's right. We're gonna go ahead and mix that maicena in here, so that way it doesn't mess up the boiling components in the pot. Let's go to that right now. So when handling your cornstarch and your 100 milliliters or slightly less of remaining coconut milk, you want to go ahead and measure out 2 level-headed spoonfuls of a 30-year-old spoon. Now, of course, I know what you're thinking. I'm Consume. I don't have a 30-year-old spoon, and if I do, it's probably way smaller or bigger than this one. Don't worry, I've gone ahead and done research in the R&D department at Consume Labs, and I've determined that these 2 spoonfuls equates to roughly 1/2 cup of cornstarch. So you get your cup of cornstarch, And the moment you put it in to the coconut milk, without letting it explode violently, you want to whisk it in vigorously to where it doesn't all come out flying. Just whisk and whisk and whisk and whisk. And you'll get quite a good workout from this. So if you need some exercise, just feel free to make some tembleque. This is going to be some very invigorating exercise for your muscles. Mainly your patience. So the reason you want to whisk so vigorously in a separate container is to eliminate any potential clumps and make sure your cornstarch is fully diluted within the mixture. And that way it provides you with the thickness that you need for tembleque. And so here comes the exciting part. Once you're done whisking vigorously for a couple of minutes or so, you want to go ahead and throw it into your pot. Be careful with this. This does pop quite brutally for some unknown reason. Coconuts are very violent in nature. That's why they need to be exterminated at all costs. Once you're done with that, so I've just been informed that you don't use a basic spoon to stir this. You also whisk the hot concoction with a whisk. And that is to prevent the clumping, not in the actual dilution. Of course, the recipe I have does not say this because, again, we Puerto Ricans don't like to communicate recipes through written language. We come from an oral culture. That's why much of our history has been lost to the debt vultures up in Washington, D.C. So, that's my people for you. But yeah, you want to go ahead and whisk. It gives you a great workout, much more than a spoon. I'm breaking a sweat out here. Someone want to take over for me? Carl?
No.
So yeah, so the key to whisking is you want to always whisk in the same direction you started whisking. Never go counterclockwise if you started clockwise. Basically, don't go against the flow. You can go sideways rapidly to break up any clumps you have in there, but overall, the time is actually much shorter than I expected. 3 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a good time to call it quits. I went ahead and lowered the heat on this and just get the bowl you want to put it in. You pour that in. And voila, you're done. You have a wonderful, ready-to-be-made tembleque. Of course, it does need to solidify a little bit more, but all you have to do is just throw it in the fridge, leave it there overnight, and you'll have a perfect, ready-to-go, gelatinous, creamy tembleque. Now, of course, before serving, you can sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top, and it's the perfect kick you'll need. We didn't add vanilla in this recipe because I think it was just perfect when I tasted it earlier, so no need to throw that in, honestly, unless you're a sucker for vanilla things. I mean, whoever likes vanilla, right? I'm more into the exotic stuff, you know? Vanilla is way too normal, way too basic.
You ate vanilla ice cream yesterday.
Listen, that's right, you go out there and make your own tembleque, alright? Follow my steps, keep on the tradition of the Puerto Ricans, let them live long and prosper far into the future, so that we may take over the world, and hopefully come out of debt. I mean, preferably the last one, but hey, who knows, the first one will be nice, right? Have a Merry Christmas, y'all, and be merry, and I'll see you next time with Cooking with Food. That was a wink. No, that was Twitch.